up there.
Hey, my guest today is Jeanne Adwani, and this is True Tales of the Supernatural. And she has a fascinating story for us about a Ouija board. Jeanne, would you just go ahead and tell us your story?
Okay. I was 19 years old, so it was a long time ago. It was the late 60s.
Okay.
And I went to Cape Cod with two girlfriends, Nancy and Chris. And we were, we went for fun, we were going to go, be on the ocean and leave Michigan. And, so we did a little road trip. We got jobs as chambermaids in this,
Wow.
in this, these hotels, this one hotel. And you hire in, right? And they give you a place to stay. So they have, they bring people from out of the country, wherever they can for the summer, to
Right.
get a lot of help. At least back then they did. And so we had our little room, the three of us, we had like two rooms. We like had a bedroom and then like a little teeny sitting room. It was all very small, but we had that for the three of us. It was tight. We had to share a bed and sleep on a couch. So anyway, we were deciding, I don't know, I don't remember who brought the Ouija board. It could
Okay.
have been me because I had used the Ouija board when I was very young, thinking, oh, it's so curious, because,
Right.
who's my boyfriend? And it would be,
Yeah.
we'd do this whole thing with the placket, right? And
Yeah.
we're kids, will I find love? Yes, no,
Right.
all that kind of,
Yeah.
cuteness, really.
Yep.
So we're in the bedroom, and we pull out the Ouija board and we put it on the bed, right, the edge of the bed. Chris and Nancy are I think they brought in chairs. A very small room. I was cross-legged on the bed,
Okay.
and just to give you some ideas, and we had the door to the bedroom from the little area that we had, open ever so slightly. And we laid it out and we were all very excited. We're going to play with the Ouija board because it was a rainy kind of day and not
Okay.
a sunny summer day. Boys, excuse me, little lads, Sids, lads, come here. It's you, yeah, you, the instigator. Cute, but nope.
No.
I'm doing this on and off for this. It's magical. Oh, my toes are getting licked now. It's kind of fun. Anyway, so we were sitting there and we're doing, we're just doing the things we're doing. We're not really thinking much about it. We're giggling and having, little 19-year-old girl fun.
Right.
Um, and then all of a sudden the room started getting cold. I mean, cold.
Mm,
And we're
okay.
like, do you feel that it's summer? It's like late June-ish, and
Wow.
Cape Cod. We're outside we're just outside Hyannisport.
Okay.
And so we're like, we're kind of, how weird. We're just thinking, well, that's kind of weird. But then all of a sudden it really started getting cold. I mean, cold. I mean, I was like in, summer clothes, and we're like, and then we're all feeling something right in that moment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel, I'm feeling really not right. I'm thinking, oh, something's really, this is how is this even possible? And we're kind of talking about it and feeling really uncomfortable, but we're still got the thing going. And then
Right.
they're in front of me looking at me. My back is to the wall, and I see their eyes get really big and they get
Oh,
quiet and everything sort of suspends, right? It's just quiet. And I feel something behind me. I'm afraid to turn around. The room is now, we could almost see our breath.
wow.
Uh, you can't make this shit up.
Right. Exactly.
And Nancy goes, she lifts her hand and she points, and she's terrified. I see a terrified look on her face, and she goes, and now we're all in the, I feel terrified. She's terrified. I better get terrified with her, right? So she says, there's something behind you. And I'm like, I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Ye-
I just, I didn't know what to do. And all,
Right.
I didn't know what to do. So I just went, and I could feel cold air on my back and on my neck. I mean, cold, like icy cold. And so I took the board and I flung it. I
Oh,
flung it as it's a small room, right? It just fits a double bed, right? And
yeah,
a chair or something, right? And then everything just, it's like the temperature just went woo, everything shifted. Everything shifted. And we I mean, that's essentially what happened. I asked, what was it? What did you see? They didn't know what to call it. It was some sort of, they could see through it, but they could see it. I mean, they were both having the same experience. Now,
right.
I never saw it. I felt it on
But-
my neck and my back.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and then honestly, the room just started getting warm right away, right? And everything just changed just like that.
After you
And
threw the board, that's when
oh,
that happened.
I threw that board. I scattered that board. I never really wanted to touch that board again. And we clearly
Wow.
had opened some sort of portal, because I
Yeah,
don't think Ouija boards are portals. I never ever played with a Ouija board since then. Why would I?
right.
Unless I were to really deeply know exactly what I was calling forth. It
Exactly. Yeah,
you can't, you just, there's portals all over the place, in my opinion, and you have to just be
right.
really mindful. And I wasn't, I wasn't even anywhere where I'm at now. I was just a 19-year-old kid with a whole other stories that were going on at that time for me anyway, which is not really relevant to this. And we of course we talked it to death, because we just didn't get it. And then there was like, did that really happen? Questioning,
Yeah,
questioning, did that really happen? Did we imagine it? And that's like, how could three of us have this? It's one thing if you're by yourself and you're
right,
questioning a reality, in a reality that doesn't fit whatever other realities going on. Of course, all
right,
realities for me are going on right now. Right now, you just decide how you're gonna plop into it, and you don't know
right.
it, So there was no, that was my, I had other things when I was really little, like 6 or 7 years old. But this was okay. Sorry.
You should show him to the folks so
Well,
that, and,
he's at the back door right now. So
oh, okay,
you'll just give me a little pause. I'll be right back.
okay,
Because I'm gonna let him out.
okay. She has the most
Out of my
cute
way.
little Shih Tzu that you've ever seen, and they
I
have
have
to go
another
out.
too. I have an old man, an old cranky pants. Come here, cranky pants.
Oh, okay.
Come here, cranky pants. Now he's super cute too. He's not very friendly and social, but look at that face. Oh, he doesn't really like me to do this at all, not really. But he's cute.
Puts up with it.
He's just he just so anyway, that was, that story is still, these things live in your body,
Oh, yeah, they absolutely do. Yeah,
and I've had another couple of well, I've had more than one or two, like probably
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
um, and you know what, I think those of us that, I think everybody has the capacity to tune into all kinds of phenom,
oh,
right?
yeah,
All the time.
absolutely.
I know I'm talking to the choir here with you.
Yeah,
Um, it's, but that one uh sits very, I don't think heavily. I mean, once I kind of got it and over, and I've sort of done work around it, to just like get it. I don't want it in my field. But it was really clear to me. I don't know. I don't know if it was the three of us that did that together. Did one of us pull that out? I don't know. Uh, I just know that we all three were involved in this, and were really quite terrified. I was really scared.
wow.
When something, you hear a tale of, oh, the room got cold and the this and the that and the other thing, and it's like, yeah,
It actually does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
had that happen to me before too. Being in the midst of a spirit manifesting and the whole room dropping at least 15 degrees,
Oh, it
uh,
was
to the
more than
point where you
15.
could start to see your breath, you know,
It was
and
75 degrees outside.
right, yeah. So that there's really not a whole lot that you can, blame that on at that point. Was there, I know you've always probably had like spiritual, you said spiritual things happened to you when you were a younger child as well. Has
Yes.
that always been the case with you where where you've always encountered like supernatural paranormal things like that throughout your whole life?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. When I was really young, now this is something that came after, I mean, through a friend of mine who does past life regression and and she's the process of hypnotherapy to take you into past life regression. And we got to, and you feel like you remember things, but you're like, you
All
question
right.
your reality
Exactly.
when you're a kid. And
Yeah.
everybody around you is like, oh, what the hell is wrong with that child? So you
Yeah.
learn to just shut up. I
Right.
mean, and I was a very independent child, and I had a lot of time to be by myself and in nature and in the neighborhood. I mean, I didn't live in nature. I did when I was really little, really, really little, but not, when I was 5 or 6, I lived in Owasso, Michigan, actually, at that time
Oh, okay.
for a
All right.
brief period. And there was a lot going on in the house that we lived in. It was pretty much right downtown, give or take like 2, 3 blocks from the downtown area. And a lot happened my mother told me we were there for 18 months.
Oh, okay.
We got there when I was probably 4.5, 5 or something. And we had moved by the time I was pushing 6. I got through kindergarten there. That was about it. But it was a very busy, active time of first off, just being a child exploring, and everything's really new.
Right.
And
Exactly.
just the, just the feelings that were happening for me and what was real and what wasn't. But when you're 4 or 5 years old, you're like, oh, and
Yeah.
nothing really scary that
Right.
seemed happening, except there was a very large tornado that happened.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, like I don't know what, it actually went through Flint, but it came through the north part of Owasso. Anyway, it gave a lot of damage to an area, and it's actually, you can read about it. I think it was like I don't remember I can't remember the year. It was a long time ago. I was really little. But I remember
Okay.
that and being in the basement, and my dad was out helping people and what have you.
Wow.
But a thing that happened then, which was I was taken back with my friend, took me back into a past, not a past life. It turned out just to be like a regression, right? Just
Okay.
take me back. I had a lot of allergies as a child. So really we went in to do this work to find out what ignited my why did I have all this surface skin shit? Because it was pretty hard, pretty difficult for me. And embarrassing. I'd bleed in my clothes, and it was a really rough several years for me. So I had
Yes.
this regression, and it got me into that house in Owasso. And I know I told my mother this story. So my mother, no, I take this back. This particular thing, this is my birth experience. My birth.
Oh,
I was taken into and followed that was this other one that was in that house. So Samantha took me back to my birth experience. And because what I remembered, or what my mother told me, was that my brother's birth, he was 6 years older than me, it was a traumatic birth, and he was breached. And they back then, they pulled him out with forceps. She said he had a pointed head. She said they
yeah.
brought him, and it was really traumatic for her. So she was very afraid to have me. She told me that after I told her my birth experience.
Okay.
And because I wanted her to have some affirmation in there. For was I making this up because
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
going back to my freaking birth experience, so it's probably all started then, because there was uh, a being in that was there for my mother. I could tell you the whole story, but I'll just jump to when I'm being taken. Oh, well, I gotta tell you. So I'm out of the womb. I'm literally, the lights are bright. It's white, and I'm going, oh my God, why did I say I'd come back? I'm here. Well, no,
Yeah.
really. And I can't talk. I can't walk. Oh, I need to wash this stuff off of me, because that's what ignited. I go, oh God, I'm covered in, ugh. And I couldn't get to the lake. I wanted to get to the lake, and I couldn't get to the lake. And now I'm pensive, and this is all happening fast, and it's really bright. And then that's why babies cry. I swear to God, they cry because it's bright. You're wondering what the hell happened to you. And here you are laying
Right.
there. So anyway, they attended to me. My mother was out. That was back when they used to knock women out, right? And that was interesting. I mean, I didn't know that till I talked to her. And so they picked me up, and I'm like, and I'm lamenting. I'm gonna forget everything. I'm literally having an inner dialogue, and all I am, I'm 7 pounds 2 ounces, as it turns out. And everything goes into slow motion as the nurse with the little hat, the whole, back when they did all that, and she's carrying me I'm all swaddled, and she's taking me into my mother's room. And we come in, there's a window over here, and my mother's bed there. There might have been another bed in the room over there, but I wasn't at all paying much attention to that. But I was aware, I could see, even though you don't see as clearly in that baby form. I could see, I could hear, I was totally in touch with my mother, and I could feel everything and understand everything. I was
Oh,
not a dumb baby. And I knew that as soon as they put me in my mother's arm, I would begin to forget, because I had done this before.
yeah.
I didn't have a memory of who that was I did this before, but I certainly have ancient, very old roots with my mother, my who was thus passed quite some time ago.
Mm.
So, and my mother was kind of groggy and what have you, and they take me, and like I said, everything's in slow motion. And so when I look up, or I'm surveying the room, there is an entity to the right of my mother by the window, and this entity I can see through, but I can also see the shape, and it has this hat. um it is a conic kind of hat, and this being is sparkling and gold and very luminescent to me.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I say to it through my mind, like, who are you, why are you here? Because I immediately felt protective of my mother. And I'm still slowly being, and I'm like, oh man, this has got to happen fast. I mean, I'm actually quite busy in my brain.
Right.
And this being just looks down at my mother. There's no smile, there's no, just present. I am here, and sends me the message, I'm here for her, my mother.
Oh,
And I'm
goodness.
like, and then I thought, and then I'm like, but I took that in, and I was like, that was somebody. I don't to this day know who that somebody was, but that being was there. And as I became coming closer in this slow motion reality, um, in getting ready to be placed in my mother's arms, this entity started shuddering and shuddering and shuddering and shuddering, and it vibrated right out the top. Right, it went away as my mother was reaching for me and bringing me in. And then I could feel everything start to blur,
So,
and I could just feel, I that was kind of the end of that. I was now
wow.
no longer in the awareness of, I was a baby. I
Wow.
was a baby here now, right? With,
Yeah.
you know,
So you're starting all over again, basically. Yeah, I had
yeah,
I had the same feeling too. It's like, why am I here again? so it was like
Oh,
I got talked into it this time around. They said we need you there, so
ah,
I got talked into it, but I don't know.
yeah,
I do. I was going to say there are specific times that I remember that something happened that was of a spiritual, supernatural nature that literally steered me in the direction that I began to go, leading me on the path that I'm on today.
sure.
Is there any specific instances that you can recall that would have made like a large impact on you to like steer you in that direction to where you wanted to find out what exactly was happening in that situation?
Oh, I think I've always been very curious. I think I came here alert and awake in a certain sort of way, and I was always a generous person in that I liked the unusual. I mean, I got three planets
Right.
in Aquarius, for God's sakes. The world is, I mean, I'm fascinated by pretty much everything, even if I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't have to
All right.
like it to be fascinated about it. What I have to be able to be aware of is not to how I will or will not engage it. But I don't know. I loved my little teeny life. And I had a lot of time. The house that I lived in was right next door to a church.
Okay.
And I didn't really understand all that. My mother, we were Lutherans and I would go to church with her, but I just never really got it.
Okay.
Always felt that I was something other than that, but I didn't have words for that when I was really little. Um, but yeah, I think as I sit and talk, I have always had some connection to the natural world, um, to to the infinite world. You know,
Okay.
I definitely know that this is not my primary home, Earth,
Right.
but I'm here, and
Yes.
it's a multi-dimensional reality. There's many things happening right here, right now, right with us, around us. We're shifting, moving, glittering, shining, decaying.
Exactly. Yeah.
All that's going on in the now
Hmm.
moment. I speak a lot about paradox. I believe that I am paradox.
Okay.
I live I seek, bandit. I seek to live in the center of all of it, because good, bad, right, wrong, the 3D reality we live in, that polarity is, always trying to find it, dark light, trying to unite. So, love, hate. I believe we are in a constant state of dualism and polarity that those of us on some path are seeking to try to unify some of that. And I think we just live in paradox and 3D reality all the time.
Okay.
Everything is going on right now.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
right now, right now, right now, right now. Good, bad, light, dark. It's all right now.
Wow.
And so as I've unfolded into that, so I went to a psychic.
Okay.
I don't do psychics, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't need to, but every now
Right.
and then I dabble and go to somebody. And shortly after this regression, and well, not shortly after, but a while after, I went to this, somebody suggested I go to this woman. I was living in London, England, and I'll hold it. Let me get the barky
Sure.
dog.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Sit, sit. Come on. I know it. You're a very good boy. Yep. All right. Yep. And that means treats have to come out. There we go.
Oh.
So anyway, I went to her, and it was I really only I mean, she said many things, but the thing I remember is this was 1982, maybe, probably 1982.
Okay.
Maybe 83, somewhere in there. And she was talking to me. She said, "Oh, you hold space for paradox." I, honest to God, in 1982, had no idea what that word was. I went back to where I lived and looked it up.
Okay.
It wasn't a computer. I had to go and look it up
Right.
because I was like, what the hell does that even mean? I mean, and I have to say, I've taken that with me my entire life since then and have tried to understand, what's that mean? I hold space for paradox. That's a big thing for someone to tell you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then to even decide what in the world that could possibly mean. But I do understand it now. But
Okay.
my understanding has come over a long journey uh of my path work,
Okay.
you know. So
Well, very amazing. That's um I know that in Native American thought there's Heyoka medicine. I'm pretty sure have you heard of that before?
how do you spell it?
Hyokah. But it means it,
H-I-O-O. Okay. No, I'm
I-
not
it
familiar with it.
okay, what it means is it's backwards medicine.
Oh.
Yeah, which means they're a Heyoka would ride through the camp backwards on a horse.
Is that like a contrary in a way?
A contrary, yes, it would be a contrary person, a person of paradox, of of it, not doing the normal thing.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever normal actually is.
Yeah.
But and that paradox, that's what that reminds me of is Heyoka medicine, is backwards medicine. And they were the sacred clowns. They could be the ones
Yes.
that taught.
I guess I do know what they are. I just didn't use that word.
Yeah,
I always thought in terms of the contrary, and I love that, the sacred clown. That's really cool.
right. They were the sacred fool, so
That
it,
was
it
what
all
I was
relates.
as a child. I was considered the
Absolutely.
clown. I was considered the clown in the family from a very young age, to a point where it was like, I didn't even, part of me was like, because I would have to perform. And
Well,
that
okay.
and that's what I felt obliged to do for for my public, as it turned out to be. But that was a lot of work,
Yes.
in retrospect.
Yeah.
I was goaded and encouraged to be, I just was naturally silly, and I was cute. And so, I just got a lot of perks from it. And who doesn't want that? When you're a kid, you're like, you want to be seen, you want
Exactly.
to be noticed. I got just a lot of attention for it.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking here as I say that, there was so much, I had a lot of time alone with myself because um, when I was that little, I really didn't have like a lot of friends. My
Hmm.
friend was the dog and the turtles. I had a thing for turtles. I was
Yeah.
obsessed with turtles for a really long time, even to the point where I had turtles. And um, I, this isn't very metaphysical, but when we moved to East Lansing, we moved into this duplex. Well, it was an upstairs apartment and a downstairs, right across, pretty close to Michigan State.
Mhm.
And the house had been opened up for a family. So it was, the upstairs apartment was now part of our house. So we had the downstairs, but the upstairs had, it had a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, and so when I got to have my choice of a bedroom, uh, uh, and I chose the kitchen, the upstairs kitchen. And my mother
Mhm.
said, "You want to be in the kitchen?" Well, it was painted all bright and yellow, and it had double sinks, and I could put my turtles in the double
Oh,
sinks. So I did. And my mother
yeah.
didn't argue with me. I got to put my little cute little single bed with my chenille. I had cowboy chenille twin bedspread.
Wow.
So, the little plaid thing with the little,
Yeah.
rodeo in the center of it. And that was my bedroom with the turtles and the sunlight and all that, and,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know, you grow up being, I think every child is connected to spirit. We're all connected to spirit, but
Right. Yeah.
there's a vulnerability and an openness that gets so shut down. You
Right.
know, it's
Yeah.
those things scare people.
Right. I understand that. It
Yeah, I do.
it's like you are lonely. You're at your most open when you're a child. And I think
Oh,
that's, yeah. And I think that part of what we have to do is remember what it's like to be a child, and to get some of that open heartedness and that open mindedness back, that allows us to touch the amazing, the wondrous, the beauty
yeah, the
that's all around us.
wonders.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Through those
So,
innocent eyes, innocent, vulnerable eyes and
right.
heart.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Those are, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. I think that's why I try to like keep a sense of play about myself, and a sense of wonderment about the world. I don't want to become cynical or shut off from anything. I want to be open to these experiences, and that's one of the reasons that I started this, is because I feel that there's so many people out there that do have experiences, but they're afraid to talk about it. So what I wanted to do was create a platform where people can come on without anybody judging them or anything, and just share their stories, in a safe place.
Agreed.
And I think we can all learn from that. I think that there's, you know, a lot that we can learn from each other about the experiences that we're going through, and then that we've had. Like, I learn things from you, and you can learn things from me, and then we can learn things from other people. So just
I think
keep
it's
that
a
open mind.
united, it's uniting,
Yes.
and I know that I think about the community that's within me. There's a lot of different me's in here.
Yes.
You know, I have a rather large community of me. And I thinking in terms of how I will nurture the community of me. And, I think I do believe inherently in women, we tend to want to serve and give and nurture. I
Yes.
just, not all women come in with that, but the majority of us do. And so, with that said, I have to say, in my numerology and in my astrology chart, I'm pretty singularity. I mean, a lot of shit's about me, and I have to take that. It's about me. I've had to
Yeah.
learn to integrate that a little bit better because I'm nice, I'm kind, I'm of service, but you're just not gonna. I don't let much take advantage of me,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
and I've kind of always been that way, and that has led to conflict, I think, especially the generation that I've lived in, where when they get married, they have children, they serve, they might be a
Yeah.
secretary if their husband let them. I mean, you're from the same
Yeah.
generation
Oh,
as I.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, women had their place. And I seriously rebelled against that.
Yeah.
I didn't even get it. It didn't even make sense to me to be that, which I mean, it's okay if somebody wants to do that, but watching us self-efface ourselves on behalf without caring for ourselves and thinking that caring for others is how we care for ourselves, when if you care for yourself, you're better at caring for others. I
Right.
don't think that was never whispered in my ear.
No, I think that's something that we come, that because that wasn't in our generation, that just wasn't shared. I think that
Oh,
that's something that we come about, we learn about that by ourselves, that
yeah.
that's something that we encounter, and it's something that we understand. So yeah, that's all, the growth is in everything as far as I'm concerned.
Everything. Agreed. There isn't a
Yeah.
moment, there isn't some moment. Well, everything's now, now, now.
Right.
I've tattooed on my wrist. I don't know if you ever saw it. I don't think you can see it now. Can you? I know. It says be here now. When I look at
Okay.
it's my watch. It says be here. What time is it? Whenever
Be
I'm
here
in
now.
doubt of the moment, be here
That's
now. It's on
that's
my
my
wrist.
mantra first thing in the morning. When I get up
Always.
to
This
do
is
my
it.
morning practices, be here now in the moment. This moment is the only
Amen.
moment that matters. Yes. Well,
100% agree. 100%.
absolutely.
And here's the
Yeah.
mudra. Here's my mudra for be here now that I learned in my priestess press. Well, they like, so I take either hand. I'm left-handed, so I do everything backwards anyway. So I take my one hand here and I place it, I sort of cup it at my heart. And I pull this hand up and I reach up and I come down. I am here now.
Now. Very good.
And I'll tell you, it drops me right in.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It stills the mind. It really does. It clears your
Does.
mind out. Yeah, really
And
does.
if I, when I think in terms of different kinds of work that I do, and I'm sure you may have heard me say this before, if I can teach anybody anything, there's more than one thing, but first, you're your own oracle. You already know everything you need to know.
Right.
And let me do
Yeah.
a chart. I can read some cards. I have a litany of things just like you do that I can lead people to, blah de da de do. And I want to remind you that I am a conduit for my oracle to your oracle. You
Right.
already know. I'm just voicing what you know that you are not allowing to bring up to the surface for your deeper knowing. And that now is all there is. And we are radiant, eternal beings
Yes, we are. That is true. Yeah,
at all times.
absolutely. Yeah.
And we always existed,
And that is true too.
and I think it's
Yeah.
just, I have, you live in the, I don't know what kind of work you do outside of the specific work, but I'm out. I just opened a shop, that, I
Right.
believe.
I know. I wanted you to talk
You,
about that
you
too,
got to
where
get
you're
in there
at.
and see it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not everybody that comes into my orbit is not aligned with all the things that I'm telling you or saying right now. They're just maybe indifferent. They're not even thinking about it.
Right.
They're not even, waking up in the morning and going, I am here now and
Yeah.
breathing
Yeah.
consciously.
Yeah.
So it's about the shop. Going back to the shop, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out, because I've and we know Even Stars is closing, which is a
I know,
heartbreak,
which is absolutely. Yeah.
and they're going to be just fine. And
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
kind of known, we've been talking about this since last year, so I've been in the obviously I've been in the loop. I was
Well, yeah, you were there.
shop,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so back in September, I just really kind of got the message for myself that things were really going to change there. And I was changing, and it was time for me I felt there were a couple of things there. They seem silly in a certain way, but the annoyances that my little hair salon and their little metaphysical shop, uh, most of the time, we worked everything out pretty well, I thought. Um, and I would be working, and then somebody would play the singing bowls, and that is so disruptive. I can't even tell you. It was, I couldn't even handle the singing bowls at all.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm cutting hair, and all of a sudden, somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing is up there doing clanging away, and
Yeah.
you have to, and that was hard, interestingly enough, especially as time went on, because it's different when intentionally you're going to go to a sound healing, or you're going to be part of something where that's going on. But when you're not in that space, that's a lot to have happen for me.
Okay.
And for them, loud people and hair dryers. And so
Uh,
they're just these odd little, but they're pokey,
yeah,
pokey when they happen, pokey, pokey, pokey. So, but
yeah,
that isn't why I left or why I chose to. Had always wanted to open a shop, and I wanted to call it Sovereign Relics. And I wanted to continue to do hair because that's my bread and butter.
right.
And I wanted to have art, antiques, and collectibles. So
Yeah,
what's interesting for me, and that's what I've done. It's done. It's happening. It's lovely. The three other women who came that I gathered to do this with me are awesome. Um, the thing that I'm missing, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to integrate it probably won't happen there, is I'm not reading it all anymore, really. There's a lot of things that are part of my community spiritual path that really won't happen there.
I
They could
see.
happen at Even Stars, but they can't happen there. I mean, well, I shouldn't say they can't happen there. There's always, for me, there's altars around the place. I've got all that going on. And I'm just trying to decide how I'm going to integrate the dynamics of all the other things that I love to do that are inherent in me that I need to put out in the world.
Right.
Wish to put um with this other thing that's really, I don't want to call it mundane, but come on. I mean, I'm selling
Yeah,
art and collectibles. I have a little hair salon in the back. It's a lovely shop, lovely people there.
yeah.
And dot, dot, dot. So
Well, why don't you give us the address so that people know where you're at and they can stop by and check you out?
please do. 226 West Michigan Avenue. I'm right downtown. I'm 2 blocks away from Even Stars. So
Okay.
I'm right across from the old library
Oh, okay.
being repaired right now. And right next door to the west of me is the El Cuantro Latin Guatemalan restaurant, right next door to me.
Okay.
So I'm 2 blocks away from Even Stars. It's a beautiful space. Now here's something I think is most interesting. So did you ever go to the Conjure Goddess? Did you hear about the shop called the Conjure Goddess
I
that was
had heard about it. Yeah. I don't think I was ever there.
I I went there once. That's the space I took. Now, her
Oh,
entire window, her entire window was a Ouija board. Now that
wow. Okay.
now Mara knows my story about the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Several people know the story about the Ouija board. Um, and I'm thinking, okay, I have a massive portal on that window. And then I had to do so much inner dialogue with myself because I believe superstition is old magic. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it can be.
And
Yeah.
I'm not into I mean, it's good to know old magic. I'm very familiar with the occult. I did some shit back in other lives. Remember stuff. And it wasn't all pretty.
Right. Yeah.
Not all pretty at all. And I didn't want to make the Ouija board like this. Oh, and then
Right.
I
Yeah.
had to do a lot of inner work because I look at a Ouija board and all I think about is that thing that was hovering behind me, making the room like ice. I can't, so it was, it was good and a good initiation for me
Yeah.
to uh, let that go. And also, I'm busy, I'm not a person who likes to conjure. I'm not a person who um I just don't like to get caught, like I said, in old magic. And what that can mean for me is I don't really cast spells. Can I? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think anybody can really.
Right.
I choose to. I find I mean, I believe in, if I'm going to cast a spell, the spell is going to be more of a personal thing. It's never towards other or anything. I think that's none of my business. I
Right.
need to keep out of other people's business. If I don't like what other people are doing or I think it's wrong, I have to just step the fuck out of there.
Right.
because I can't fix them. And it's not my job to lay a bunch of stuff on you that I'm perfectly capable of doing. I know I am. I just am not going to.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have the Ouija, this decaled Ouija board. I mean, I'm talking a wall, a entire window,
Wall size. Yeah.
wall size, the whole front
Yeah.
of the shop. So anyway, I had to get that thing off there as soon as I could. So as soon as I took possession, I got busy taking it off. And it was little, each one was a little decal, and it probably came on in one fell swoop with whoever put it up there. But each one of those letters and numbers and bits and bobs and all that, a Ouija board looks like,
Right.
each one had been sealed off individually.
Oh, wow. That's a lot
So
of
I
work.
did part of it, and a friend of mine came and she said, I'll take it off for you.
Oh, that's
I said,
nice. That
well,
was
thank you,
nice.
thank you. Well, she had no attachment to it. So it was a breezy, easy thing for her. So it went,
Very good.
about 2 hours, it was gone. It took a while to take it off. So, it's like, how do we lead, how do we lead people to their own self-discovery of what spirit is for them? What magic is? What about the things that the occult things, the magical things, the fae things? We have, all those words. How do we, you do what you do. I'm missing doing something right now, and I haven't figured. Plus, I haven't had a lot of time. This thing took up more time than I've ever. It's the biggest thing I ever did.
Right.
The
Yeah.
shop was one big thing.
Well, I think it'll come to you eventually. And how it, how it will incorporate with everything that you've got going on right now. I know with Lucinda and I, it was more or less we had to, I mean, we had a serious discussion about, now that we are retired, and I mean, we've done a lot of work in the past and everything like that, and I still continue to teach, but I know I'm starting to draw back more and more and more. Um, but new things are coming up. Like we're really getting into the ecology of the planet and the plight that the planet is in right now, and that's becoming more and more upfront for us. And that's the way we feel that we're being led, is to become a voice for the planet, because if we don't, who is going to do it, so everybody
Very
has to stand up. So I believe it's the same thing with you. I think that your next big thing is right there. You just,
Yeah,
it'll present
agreed.
itself. Yeah, it will present itself,
Yeah.
in the time that's coming up. So
Well, I think there's that, you know, double Capricorn in me that's gets impatient as hell.
yeah,
I'm like, because
yeah,
I'm a doer. I like
yeah,
to get stuff done. And I have on a number of occasions, it, people were like, God, aren't you going to retire? And I'm like, I don't even know what that word, that's a
right,
ridiculous word to me,
yeah,
you know. And I took on a really big project very publicly, very publicly. So, you know, and it was fun. It was good. I'm very happy about it. It's all good. And like you said, I'm trying to be patient with myself and with the spirit, to listen and let myself be led to exactly what it is that I wish to make happen. I think part of it is like I needed a calm down period after all the work that I did to make
right,
this happen. That once that there's more settling, because it's only been a month,
right, yeah, oh yeah,
over a month where the whole place is open. I was doing hair
right,
back in March, but the whole shop only opened on April 5th.
right.
So,
So yeah, this is all very new. It's, yeah,
squeaky new,
very,
squeaky new.
very new. Wow, very cool. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for telling us your story. Hopefully we'll have you
Thanks,
back in
Listen.
the future.
Oh, I
And
got stories.
absolutely. So we'll have you back and you can tell us more. All
Thank
right.
you. You bet.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Rocky. Send
Okay,
love to Lucinda.
I
Mwah.
will. Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.